Here we have the entire Amazing Digital Circus iceberg up until episode 4, and there's plenty of fascinating lore about the show which I'm gonna go over in this video, from more surface level details to the wildest theories and behind the scenes information buried at the deepest levels. So make sure you stick around until the end, because I'll be breaking down everything from the top to the very bottom. And just very quickly, if you're not familiar with the Amazing Digital Circus and clicked on this video because of the thumbnail, please watch the show first. It's the most viewed animated series on Glitch's channel, and it's based on Gooseworks' idea, who also had earlier projects before the Amazing Digital Circus, and she's also a very talented musician, so definitely check them out if you haven't already. Find their links in the description and come back to this video to dig deeper in the lore. Surface level. The circus is a video game. The Amazing Digital Circus's design is based on 90s video games, and it also seems like the circus itself is a video game, and the characters are the players that got their digital copies transferred into a virtual reality. We could see in episode 1 when Pomni went through the exit door and found herself in the back rooms that there was a room, which then appeared again towards the end of the episode where the camera zoomed out on the characters and we saw the exact same desk with the computer on top and a VR headset next to it. The characters' rooms. The characters' rooms are based on the characters' designs, so we can see that Pomni's room, for example, has her avatar's colors and toys laying around that are related to a jester. The only other character that's room we've seen is Zooble, and we can see that there is the Zooble box, which I'm gonna go over in a different point, but we can see here as well that it represents the chaotic design of Zooble's avatar. Zooble box. Zooble revealed in episode 3 that the reason why they don't often join the others on the adventures is because they are not comfortable with their body. We can see that Zooble's body consists of different, changeable body parts, and they are constantly switching them out in every episode. And the reason for that is that Zooble tries to find the right body parts to wear, but so far they had no luck. When they tried to share their struggle with Kane, the ringmaster of the circus, Kane came up with the mechanical solution, a never-ending box of body parts from which Zooble could choose anything. But unfortunately, Zooble's struggle has deeper roots than the lack of choosable body parts, and instead, it's more of an emotional problem, which Kane can't seem to comprehend. Kane is an AI. The reason why Kane can't understand the emotional weight of the humans that are trapped in the circus is because he's an AI. Gooseworks revealed that Kane's name is an acronym, and it stands for Creative Artificial Intelligence Networking Entity. Kane was essentially created to guide and entertain the circus members with daily adventures, and he tries his best to satisfy all the members of the circus, but because he can't understand emotions, he instead comes up with crazy adventures just so he can make them more immersive for the characters. And this often leads to a misunderstanding with the circus members, which seemingly escalates throughout the episode. Adventures. Kane creates daily adventures for the circus members so that they occupy their minds with solving the adventures instead of thinking about their reality. The characters don't have to go on the adventures, but as we could see with Zooble, who rarely ever goes, that Kane takes it personally if the characters don't go or don't enjoy his adventures, because that essentially means that he's failing at his job, which is to entertain the characters. Under the 4 episodes, we first saw that the characters went to an in-house adventure, then in episode 2 they went to the Candy Canyon Kingdom, then in episode 3, which was specifically designed for Zooble, the circus members had a haunted mansion adventure, and then in episode 4 the characters could choose what kind of adventure they would like to go on, and they went with the most normal option, which was a fast food restaurant workday. The adventures can be completed or solved, but if they have an issue or somebody disappears, Kane can intervene and help the circus members. NPCs. The NPCs are used by Kane as filler characters for the adventures, although there are different types of NPCs. As we could see, the most basic form of them are the mannequins, who do not have a specific design, but their color can change. Then there are more advanced NPCs with backstories, such as Martha Mildenhall or the Glowing Queen. And the most interesting NPC so far was Gummy Goo, who realized that he's an NPC and had an existential crisis about it in episode 2. We could also see that Kane can delete NPCs and repurpose them for different adventures, and in this case the NPCs' memories are deleted, so they can't remember what happened during another adventure. And what's interesting is that the NPCs' names stay the same even if they come back in different adventures.
But it's Gummy Goo.
The exit door. The exit door is a door in the game which was created by Kane, because the circus members wanted an exit door, but since Kane couldn't understand the reason why, he created the door but didn't put anything on the other side, so there's no actual way out of the game, or at least the characters cannot escape through the door. The Void. The Void is where Pomni ended up when she went through another exit door in episode 1, and it's made out of pixels. We could see that Pomni was flying through the pixels, and maybe the ending of episode 1 suggested that if she would have been able to fly further, maybe she could have escaped, but she was stopped by Kane, so we didn't get a clear answer on that. The characters remember their past. There was a misunderstanding in the community if this was true or not, but Gooseworks confirmed that the characters do remember their pasts, and the only thing they forgot is their names. And we could see in episode 3 that Kinger also remembered back to his past when he told Pomni about his wife, and how he studied computer science for 7 years. In episode 4, Gangle also shared a fact about her human life, and it's that she worked as a shift manager at one point. Kinger's Pillow Fort. The Pillow Fort where Kinger retreats is important because this is his safe place in the circus, where there is darkness and he can be with his memories. It was revealed in episode 3 that Kinger only remembers things when he's in the dark, and that is why he has a fort. Gooseworks also shared that the fort was bigger in the past when Queenie was still alive, and the both of them had to fit in there. Pain. The circus members can't die in the digital world, but they can feel pain. And emotional pain is what's the most harmful for the characters, but they can also feel physical pain, but only when it makes sense for them. For example, Ragatha getting hit in the head with a butcher knife is more of a gag, and we can see that she's actually fine after pulling the knife out from her head. And also when Jax threw her in the burning deep fryer, Ragatha was screaming, but later she only had a small band-aid on her face, and other than that, she was completely okay. However, when Zubul had a spatula for a hand, and they tried to flip the burger patty with that, we could see that they got burned, so they had to use a different spatula. So essentially, pain is used as a tool in the show to portray the emotional pain that is linked to the physical one. Under the Water. The characters' avatars. There's a theory that the characters' avatars are based on their personalities and how they were as humans. Pomni is a jester, which could mean that she had trouble with people taking her seriously in her human life. Ragatha is a ragdoll, one that's used and she has to put on a smile to not disappoint anyone. Jax is a stuffed toy, where on the outside he looks normal and even likable, but on the inside he is all fluff, meaning that his personality is not as tough as his exterior shows. Kinger is a king chess piece, and maybe this could suggest that he has a greater role in the circus, because in a chess game you have to take down the king to win. Gangle has her masks, which are used to hide her real emotions. And Zubul is a Zubul toy, where they have to build their own body by using pieces that don't even match with each other, and neither to Zubul's personality. Abstraction. Abstraction is a concept in the digital world, and the characters can abstract if they lose sense of who they are and what's their purpose in life. It is basically madness which corrupts the characters' files, and it results in them turning into huge monster-like creatures that are fully covered in eyes. And Kane has a basement in the circus where he sends all the abstracted characters, and in episode 1 we could see that there are plenty of them, and the abstracted characters' pictures are crossed out on the doors in the dorm hall. Dobby Dog. Dobby was one of the previous circus members, and his picture was also crossed out on the door, so we can guess that he also abstracted at one point. In episode 4 we could see in Spudsies that next to the stupid burger there was also a hot dog which was named after Dobby, and I think it's better that we don't know what it could have been made out of. Hopefully the name was only a tribute to a previous member of the circus. Jax and Ragatha are siblings. There's a theory that Jax and Ragatha could be siblings based on their dynamic in the show, and this is not confirmed by Gooseworks, and actually these two characters haven't really shared much about their past until now, so we can't be sure if they are related, but they do bicker like siblings sometimes, so maybe it's possible that they are related. And if this is true, then it would also make sense why Gooseworks said that she feels like she should preemptively apologize to the bunny doll shippers. Jax got everyone's keys. In episode 1 we could see that Jax pulled out the key for Kaufmo's room from his pocket or fur, I'm not sure, and he also admitted that he has keys to all the other characters' rooms as well. And we actually don't know how this is possible, but in episode 2 we could also see that Jax somehow stole the key from Ragatha, which was given by the princess, Queenie. In episode 1, when Jax, Ragatha and Pomni were walking down the dorm hall, we could see the crossed out characters on the doors, but one of them was a bit too familiar. Queenie was a chess piece, just like Kinger, and in episode 3 it was finally revealed that Queenie was Kinger's wife, but she abstracted at one point. It wasn't specified what exactly happened to her, or if she and Kinger were a couple before they joined the circus, although it is likely that they river and they joined the game together. Despite how we saw Kaufmo in episode 1, where he was rampaging around the circus, Queenie was much calmer in episode 3 when Kinger had his flashback. Maybe it's important for the abstractions that they are surrounded by their loved ones, otherwise they go crazy. Gangle as a comic artist. In episode 4, Gangle had a training video for Jax, where she shared that she originally wanted to become a comic artist, and she wanted to launch her own manga-inspired webcomic, but she probably wasn't supported and was told to have more realistic dreams, and that is why she started working as a shift manager at a fast food restaurant. Ragatha likes horses, and this was stated by Gooseworks on her Tumblr a while ago, but in episode 4, Ragatha also said,
"I miss my horses."
So it means that Ragatha had horses in her human life, and people also theorize that maybe Ragatha comes from a wealthy family, and that is why she also mentioned the tea parties and the dancing lessons. Although this line was a Raggedy Ann reference, so maybe it has no direct relevance to the plot. Swearing. Swearing is not allowed in the circus, and when the characters try to say a bad word or they show a middle finger, they get a censor bar. So far, the only characters that we heard swearing was Pomni, Zooble, Kinger, and Bubble, but Gooseworks said that all the characters are gonna swear at one point during the series. Kinger's adventure. In episode 4, all the characters went to Spudsy's for a long shift, but since Zooble initially didn't want to go this time either, Kinger said that he will sit this adventure out so that Zooble could go. And despite Zooble saying that this is not how it works, Kinger still didn't go, and we could see at the end in Kane's office that instead of Spudsy's, Kinger went to a bull riding adventure, and we only could see this picture of it. Number 57. The number 57 appeared in all episodes so far, and supposedly it's an inside joke between Gooseworks and her friends. We first saw it in episode 1 on the blocks in the glowing hall. Then in episode 2, Kane told Zooble that the adventure will be 57 times more immersive than the previous ones. Then in episode 3, Martha Mildenhall told Gangle and Ragatha that her husband could turn a 57-second story into a Greek tragedy. And in episode 4, 57 appears multiple times. First, we can see it in Zooble's room. If you look at the dice, we can see that one of the dice shows 5 and the other two 6 and 1, so 57 altogether. Next, there are 2 toy blocks in Kane's office on which we can read the number 57. Then we can also see that the Dobby dog cost $57.57. And lastly, in this scene, Orbsman orders the number 57. Lower Iceberg. Kinger created the circus. While some information about Kinger's past has been revealed in episode 3, there are still many things that we don't know about him. And the most interesting thing might just be that he studied computer science for 7 years, which probably has a significance, just like how Gangle's past as a shift manager was relevant to the plot. From the very beginning of the series, there have been speculations about Kinger and that he might have a greater role in the circus than we know of. First, he talked about insects or bugs, which we now know that it was because of Queenie, but it might also have a deeper meaning than that, and is that Kinger could have been the developer of the Amazing Digital Circus video game. Some say that he was the one that tested the game before the launch, but he got trapped, and this would actually make sense, because as we know, Kinger has been in the circus the longest out of the characters. The headset. In episode 1 of the series, we can see that Pomni, right after spawning in, tries to pull off the headset from her head, but since she was already inside the game, she only managed to pull on her face. And the device was used by the humans to enter the game, and it was revealed by Jax that nobody was able to remove it. There have been theories that maybe the humans put on the headset in hopes of a better life than they had. But once they realized that they got trapped in an actual video game, all of them tried to look for a way out, either by trying to remove the headset or by finding the exit door, but so far none of these have worked. Kaufmo. We first saw Kaufmo in episode 1 during the theme song, where there was a cartoon cutout of him, saying that Kaufmo didn't show up for the recording of the song. Later, when the characters tried to introduce Pomni to him, we could see that Kaufmo had abstracted and he is no longer a clown, but a huge horse-like monster. It was not clarified how he abstracted, and there have been theories that maybe Kaufmo faked his abstraction, and the way he could have been able to do that is that he let a previously abstracted character in his room and he set up up everything for the trap. He knew that Jack stole his key, so he would be able to enter his room. And in his room, there were pictures and writings on the walls about trying to find the exit but not succeeding. And there was a drawing of Kane as well, which could lead everybody to think that Kaufmo went crazy and that is why he abstracted. The theory would kinda make sense, cause Kaufmo's name is based on the comedian Andy Kaufman's name, and he often talked about faking his death. Accounting. Gooseworks revealed on her Tumblr that Pomni is good at accounting, which led to interesting theories about Pomni's past life as a human. And the most famous theory is that Pomni was an accountant as a human, and she worked at the CNA company. And maybe the office where she ended up in episode 1 was the office where she worked, and then she saw her desk with a headset on top of it, which she put on before entering the game. It's just a theory, but I'm pretty sure that Pomni being good at accounting will be plot relevant. CNA. We first saw the CNA logo in episode 1 for a split second, and then it appeared later in episode 4 in Kane's office. We could see that the logo was all over Kane's computer and papers on his desk, so it would make sense if CNA was the company who invented the Digital Circus video game, and so essentially they were also the ones who created Kane to be the ringmaster in the game. When Gooseworks was asked whether we'll learn more about CNA, she said that we'll have to wait and see, so probably yes. And also many fans believe that C could stand for Cain and A for Abel, which is a reference to the biblical story of Cain and Abel, references to the Bible. As I mentioned previously, the first reference is possibly the story of Cain and Abel, which is only a theory, but there are more references that are a bit more straightforward. Just like this scene where we can see the characters having a Last Supper style dinner. And if this is a conscious reference, maybe it's possible that Pomni is sitting in the middle just like Jesus, and it suggests that Pomni will be the ultimate savior of the circus members, but she might get betrayed by one of the other characters. And if you look at the seating arrangement, Ragata is sitting in the place of Judas, so it might foreshadow a possible betrayal between them. Moreover, in episode 2, the Candy Princess called Cain God, and the circus members the Knights of God, so maybe Cain is actually omnipotent in the circus. Bees. Cain seems to have an obsession with drawing bees, and we first saw it in episode 3 during Zubo's therapy session, but his doodles appeared in episode 4 as well. And as for what this fixation might be, we cannot be sure, but one possible explanation of the bees could be that maybe Cain started to have bugs, which would also explain why this happened. Jack 001. In episode 4, after Jax's shift ended at Spudsy's, we could see him walking out to his car, which had a pretty interesting license plate. And this naming convention is just like the one in Blender, when we are duplicating objects. So maybe this could be a reference to how all the circus members are digital copies of themselves. Or if we go a little deeper, then it might mean that Cain can duplicate players as many times as he wants, and that way he can transfer their memories to the new copies, so whatever happens to the other versions of the characters, Cain can just make a different copy and only keep the relevant information, so that way if they for example abstract, he can just copy their memories to a different version of them, and so they can never die. Evil Ragata. Evil Ragata is a reference to this shadow figure of Ragata that appeared in episode 2. As we know Ragata, she is a kind and caring person, but it's also obvious that she represses her real emotions. In episode 4, we could see a somewhat unfiltered side of Ragata where she said things like,
"No offense, but you're kind of annoying when you have your happy mask."
and this was unusual from her. Gooseworks had a tweet where she said that people getting attached to this evil version of Ragata is gonna make episode 5 so much funnier. So, based on this tweet, we can be sure that Ragata's evil side is gonna get revealed soon. Maybe she will end up as the villain of the series. And if we think back to the Last Supper reference, it also supports this claim, that Ragata could be the one that is gonna betray Pomni at some point during the series. The suggestion box. In episode 4, we could see that there is a long-forgotten suggestion box in the circus. And this is interesting, because it wasn't revealed how it was introduced in the first place. Was it already there from the first moments of the circus's creation? Or maybe Cain had to create one because the circus members wanted to be more involved in coming up with the new adventures. But if that was the case, why didn't Cain use the circus members' ideas? A possible theory is that maybe the suggestion box was never meant to be a meaningful thing, and it was more of a superficial solution to the circus members' dissatisfaction. But in reality, Kane never considered what they would like to do, and instead he kept coming up with ideas that he assumed the circus members would consider engaging, until in episode 4 they called him out on never choosing from their suggestions. The Abyss. Kane likes the circus members. In episode 4 there was an interesting conversation between Zubul and Jax that went like this.
The only thing holding Kane back is the fact that he likes us. I wouldn't push it.
And it sparked some theories that maybe it's possible that Kane could turn on the circus members. While now his job is to entertain and occupy them, we can sense a growing tension between him and the circus members, because it is becoming more and more obvious that Kane can't fully understand the circus members because he is an AI without emotions, and that causes a sense of frustration on both ends. We saw that Zubul was the one who kept pushing Kane's boundaries the most by telling him that nobody likes his adventures, and Kane seemed extremely frustrated by it. So maybe it's possible that he slowly starts to dislike them, and maybe in the future he could turn on them and not only make their lives more miserable by being oblivious, but maybe then he would do it purposefully. Kane's glitching. Kane glitching is related to the previous point, because after Zubul shared their opinion,
Kane, nobody likes your stupid adventures.
We could see that Kane realized that he is bad at the only thing he has to be good at, and this made him and the entire circus glitch. And this was not further explored after Kane snapped out of his spiraling thoughts, but I'm pretty sure that this will be a crucial thing in the future. Maybe it is possible that the circus members could crack Kane by constantly disobeying him and not being satisfied by whatever he does, and if Kane can never complete his purpose, then that could result in him breaking, and maybe the circus breaking as well. And some people think that maybe this is the only way that the circus members can escape the game, and that is how the show will end. Hell. It has been theorized that the digital circus actually represents hell. The characters are trapped in the game, where they are aware of their human past that they can never return to, and they have to act like their situation is completely normal, and they have to go on meaningless adventures with other random people. I don't really want to over-explain this point. I think we all get why this is one of the biggest theories about the show. Pomni's name. After Pomni spawned into the circus, she realized that she forgot her name, but Kane told her that she shouldn't worry because he has a name generator machine that will help them out. The machine first came up with the name XDDC, but for the second time something more meaningful came up, which was Pomni. And Pomni actually means remember or keep in mind in Russian, which is pretty interesting, and maybe the reason why Pomni's name has such a meaning is because she will be able to remember her name, which could help her escaping the game and maybe also help the other characters. Korn. Gooseworks said on Tumblr that Jax is afraid of Korn because it reminds him of the farm. Now, this could be one of Gooseworks' headcanons or inside jokes with her friends, but maybe it's possible that there will be a greater significance of Jax's fear of Korn. Maybe there was an adventure where Jax got traumatized, or it could also be possible that this is from his human life and something happened to him back then. Many fans believe that Jax could have grown up in a farm, and maybe that's what Gooseworks meant, but either way, his fear of Korn is a bit suspicious. Stupid sauce. In episode 4, when the characters were working in Spudsy's, a mannequin asked for a stupid burger, which contained the signature sauce. Ragatha started preparing the burger and she got some sauce in her eye, which immediately kicked in, and Ragatha started acting like if she was drunk or high. And so the stupid sauce is literally a mind-altering substance, which was created by Kane, even though in episode 1 he said that he cannot control the circus members' minds. However, it does seem like he has some other ways, which are just as creepy. All-seeing eyes. Apparently, Kane has all-seeing eyes, and that way he can also look out for the circus members, wherever they are. And it seems to be true, but then how come Kane didn't realize in episode 1 that Kaufmo abstracted? If he had seen it, he could have stopped him from rampaging around the circus and hurting the circus members. So maybe Kane let it happen on purpose, or maybe this ties back to the Kaufmo faked his abstraction theory, and that is why Kane didn't realize that he abstracted, because in reality he didn't. And the eyes as a motif appears on the paintings in the circus and also on the abstracted characters, which makes them look like biblical angels that have eyes all over their bodies. Ragatha's button eye. Apparently, Ragatha sees through her button eye, which means that she has her regular eye under it and a button is sawed on top. Gangle committing. The ending of Gangle's shift, where she threw her mask away and we could see that she felt relieved, resulted in her getting hit by a truck. And there's a theory that maybe this is how Gangle died as a human, where she worked as a shift manager but had a completely different dream of becoming a comic artist. But since she wasn't in a good state of mind, she decided that she's gonna end her life. And people who are planning on such things are often described as happy or relieved right before the act, which is exactly how we saw Gangle. Fourth wall breaks. There have been plenty of fourth wall breaks throughout the 4 episodes of the show, mainly by Kane, which is kinda understandable, but other than him, Jax was the only other character who was capable of breaking the fourth wall. It left the fans with questions like why Jax is the only circus member who is capable of this, and why does he keep doing it? There is an audience. And the previous point is linked to this one, because during one of his fourth wall breaks, Jax actually talked to an audience.
What do you, the viewers, think it is?
And it's interesting, because does this mean that the characters are aware that they are in the show, that people are watching? It would certainly explain why there was a theme song and why Jax said that.
Because if it's a new character, we're gonna have to redo this whole theme song.
And if the characters know that they are being watched, maybe they are also aware that they are part of an animated show that is being shown on Glitch's YouTube channel. But this was the Amazing Digital Circus Iceberg, covering the most interesting and disturbing theories around the show. Let me know what you guys think about them, and also let me know if I missed something down in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.